Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. It's Ginge and Friends, of course. I'm Ginge. We've got, you might remember Riley over here to our right. Just had him on the show along with, of course, Pedro.
Hello.
Yep. And of course, we got special guest Jake Tvister. Jake,
What's up,
how
guys?
you doing?
What's up, Jake?
All the way from the frozen north.
It's actually
Is
quite
it-
decent now.
Nice.
Are
Yeah.
you from Alaska? Where are you at?
I'm not in Alaska, dude. I'm in Norway.
Oh, nice.
The other frozen north, of course.
The other frozen north, the eastern frozen north.
Let's
Yep.
see.
I'm gonna say hello to the chat real quick. We got
Yep.
Benjamin Soto. What's up, Ben? Really great artist. Looks like he's maybe 22, but is much older. No offense. That was supposed to be a compliment. Sorry. We got Ichthus, of course. What's up, Ichthus? How you doing, buddy?
Yo,
Breaking
total
the law.
excellence. Is that like a
That is-
nickname for Ginge? Is that
No.
like one of your alter egos? Is total excellence like Villain's head or something?
No,
That would be awesome.
but yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to something like that.
That's
You know,
that's
like
the
a-
new thing. We're gonna troll you, and every time we're on Drawn Talk, we're just gonna call you total excellence from now on.
Total excellence. That is Ichthus's catchphrase. That's
Yeah,
his,
exactly.
that's his thing.
Yeah, but it
Of
would
course,
be
we got
great.
Jake in the chat.
It would be a
We
good
also
joke.
have Jake on the stream. Good to have you here, buddy. And of
Yeah.
course, Ben. All right. See, Ben didn't take it personally. Good guy. All right. So, anyways, yep. Draw is the law, and the law, of course, is draw whatever you like. So, I'm
Well,
probably
I'm
gonna
not-
draw a vampire.
I'm not drawing. I'm kind of painting, so I don't know if I'm breaking the rules already.
Oh boy, man! I
Oh,
didn't know
boy.
we'd have to get started right away.
Yeah,
Draws the
I
exactly.
don't know. Well, we'll let you slide this time, Pedro.
All right.
Just slap on the wrist, I suppose.
I'm getting the Latin American pass. Cool.
That's a bribe, right? That's going to actually have to cost you, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I'll pay you in bananas or something. I don't know what do we produce down here.
I like oranges. I'm an orange guy.
Oh,
Coffee.
I also live in Florida.
Coffee.
So.
Yeah, coffee. Oh, yeah, we have great coffee. in
Cocaine?
Panama.
Is that what y'all are known for?
We don't have the land for that, but I can
Oh.
get it for you. Yeah.
Plata.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, we don't have the land for cocaine. It needs to be a little bit more. It needs a colder climate to grow.
Ichthus says, wow, Pedro, you have brought a paintbrush to a pencil fight. That
Exactly.
makes a good point.
Mm-hmm. I'm
You have to paint yourself out of this one.
I'm an idiot.
So,
Tell you guys what I'm working on. I'm doing a cover of Detective Comics. I don't know what issue this is. This is 59. And I'm just starting off with Robin and
hey,
in
Nice.
the background. It's a little tough to see, but I'm just drawing his shapes right now. That's what I'm working on right now.
right on.
I like Golden Age because it's like fundamental. You know, you can build on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna draw something real fast then.
Hey, all
I
right.
don't want to be the odd man out.
That's too bad, buddy. You're already that, but you could draw still. That'd be okay.
Yeah.
I'm just messing.
What is that sound? Are we gonna freaking?
Oh, I'm in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was right.
Shouldn't you be pulling out the plugs from the computer and all that then?
No, I have a really nice UPS unit.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's no problem.
Oh, I see. I see. Pedro's pulling out the digital page. Jake is also doing his digitally there. You're being called upon by Ichthus. Show us your hands.
Okay,
But-
I'm gonna show
Yeah.
hands. All right.
Oh, he's showing hands. You better be ready. He's showing hands.
Oh, dude.
Stop yapping.
Can you hear that?
This started out as a cover and it turned into a pinup.
Yeah, I think we can. I can hear. Which is called, what is that? The rain.
Yeah, it's the rain. God damn it. Yeah, sorry.
I live in Florida, and it was storming pretty bad. Like 4 or 5 days ago, I lost power for. I think on Monday, actually, I lost power for like 4 hours, and I think it's just made its way down. Maybe to you. I don't know.
Yeah, it's happened. Like the thing is, like, we don't really get like hurricanes or whatnot down in Panama, but we do get like the downpour.
Do you get the Downcast by Clint Stoker?
I have the first one yet. Downcast 1.
Hey,
Get it an alternative.
all right, I'm just trying to get my light and camera situation fixed here.
Great.
Look at Pedro go. Man, plugging away on some anatomy there. Ah. Now I'm curious. Oh. I'm gonna bring you back to the stream, Pedro, in a minute. Since I guess I'll have to look into Stream Labs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look into Stream Labs for this next.
I'm actually thinking about doing my own little show.
Okay.
Thinking about having it on Saturdays at about 9 p.m. PST. And it's going to be a little bit more of a variety show, not so much focused on comics and art, but, you know, like a morning show, like old school radio show.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
9 PST, is that, was that AM, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I grew up like going, you know, to the commute and just like, you know, that was like the hour for all talk radio, and like Ryan Seacrest was like actually like a radio guy in the 90s, and like he was kind of cool at the time. So like, you know, that's kind of the vibe I want to go with. You know, like old school 90s talk host, Howard Stern, Ryan Seacrest kind of vibe.
I've never known what he does. Old Seacrest. You know him from whatever the hell that show was? What was it?
American Idol. Yeah.
You know
everyone knew about that show, man. It was like you couldn't live under a rock and not know about it, you know? Survivor, the American Idol, The Mole, the Great Race, all those reality shows were like the only thing on.
I was never a big fan of reality shows. Just like,
I never said I was a fan, but they were everywhere.
I'm not accusing you of anything, man. It's just I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like I was never a fan of like Survivor, men against women. He used to film Survivor down here. We do have the jungle to kill people. So they will ship all this like people who were starving for fame.
Yeah, people who are just basically like they will do anything to be on TV.
Yeah, and then
did you ever meet Jeff Probst? And did he send you off the island, Pedro? Did he put your little
I actually worked on one season on Survivor, and basically doing storyboards. Like, why would you need storyboards for reality? But whatever. It was a paycheck, and the thing is like, a lot of guys who work in production down here, like basically that was their life. They would work in Survivor, save up all the money, and then not work for the rest of the year. It was a good check.
It's like wildlife firefighting in Oregon. Everybody over here, they get a big paycheck after the fire season. And they, save it, and then, they work free, and then they go back in the summer.
So
I thought about doing that myself, actually.
A fireless season for them would be death then. Wow.
We get fires like in California and Oregon, all the West Coast is always on fire every year. So we get a lot of money. We need them. I mean, business is good,
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate that business is good, but it's good that there's people.
No, it would be unfortunate if they were not there.
Yeah,
Right.
we need them. That's what
God
I'm
bless them.
saying.
God bless them. Yeah. But yeah, if somebody deserves to get a year off, would be them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really don't know what I'm doing, man. I'm just sketching this.
Pedro says, "I don't know what I'm doing."
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
Where am I?
Jake, what are you doing, buddy? You said you were working on your comic book. If you want to throw your screen in the chat, I'll share it. And next time, if I'm definitely going to do another one. You're definitely more than welcome to come. We'll have it a little more professional, hopefully, next time around.
Yeah.
I'm currently having a little bit of a hiccup right now with loading the filing. I noticed that I was working on page 1, but I hadn't booted up the whole page arrangement, so I gotta start that up. But as soon as that's back on, I'll share. Just sit tight. Sit tight.
Cool.
You got me.
You got me.
I am drawing a vampire head, so that's what I'm doing. It's gonna be snarling at you.
I'm drawing Dick Grayson, the best Robin. The best Robin.
Yeah. I don't know, man. My comic book pedigree, it's kind of skewed because we didn't have comic shops down here at all when I was growing up. That was what you could get at the pharmacy. So it was mostly X-Men and some Batman that I couldn't really tell I could follow the story because it's not really a comic shop. It was just what's available,
Yeah.
And
I didn't get into comics until when I was 22. I wasn't really a comic book guy. I made comics, but I used it as a medium. I wasn't a fan of comics. I liked the medium, but I wasn't a superhero fan. I like Spawn because he was
not your
cool.
superhero average.
He was cool,
Right.
but I wasn't an avid comic book guy until way later.
What was the first comic book you bought?
The first comic book I bought was called Invincible Ed, and it was a really short indie comic that was 4 issues, and it was just 2000s humor in a nutshell. There was a J-Lo reference. There was a gotcha smoker, and it was very cheesy, but that was my first one. I also got Halloween 3, but it was a tie-in comic. It was its own little story, and it was about a mental patient who was who suffered at the hands of Michael Myers, and that actually gave me nightmares. That's when I found out that comics weren't for kids because it was bloody as hell and just as scary as Chucky, and Chucky scared the shit out of me as a kid. So those were the 2 first comics that I bought, and they're pretty good. I think I wish I still had them.
You know what scared me as a kid? Chucky was one that really scared me, but I loved it. You just have to take the step to get 2 minutes into it, and you're okay, I love this. But what else really scared me? But as soon as it started, I loved it. The X-Files. It was the theme song,
and that was IDW, right? You talking about the comic or the show?
No, the show. The theme song from the show. The theme song and the video. The video is so bizarre, and the music, they nailed it.
The music is
totally
creepy. I remember hearing the theme song, and honestly, before the internet made it an Illuminati joke, it was scary.
Yeah.
The intro had aliens and everything. It was
yeah.
It felt very horror-ish.
Yeah.
So
great show.
You were asking about the comics. Sorry, I had to mute there for a moment. Someone came with a cake.
Hey, buddy. Oh,
the cake.
Delish.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Marzipan cake.
All right.
There.
So
I wish I had cake.
Speaking of Chucky, I'm actually working on a story sort of similar to that.
Awesome.
So I'm going to work for a 6-pager. It's called Cheesy. It's sort of like a comedy comic, horror comedy.
Nice.
Just playing on like the Creepy UC Comics magazine.
Oh, nice.
And
Sweet.
essentially, just the story's about this Alan Moore-looking janitor that is down with his luck in his life, and so he falls into a cheese vat in a cheese factory, and he curses the vat to create cheese, which turns like people that consume that specific cheese from that specific vat into like zombie-like creatures that are just like melted faces of cheese and all that stuff. I call them cheezels. And their mouth is sort of like formed like a hoodie, and so they're like melting cheese hoodies instead of like ordinary heads. So they go around glorping people and just like taking over society and all that.
Did you see the stuff?
Yeah, a friend of mine referred me to the stuff just recently, and I was thinking about it when I was watching the movie a little bit too.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not like
The Blob with Steve McQueen.
Yeah. No, it is the Blob. Actually, it is the Blob mixed with the aforementioned Chucky.
Yeah.
But I can get like the stuff reference or like the stuff as like an originator to that. But instead of like consuming and becoming like really enamored with the taste and all that stuff, it's just like the cheese is sentient. So it's like more like the Blob.
Like the Blob, yeah. Yeah, dude. Like there's like movies like that like have disappeared. Which to me, it's a travesty.
Yeah, it's
in the '80s. It was just like we were waiting for that like campy horror thing. And I don't know, like people now they're trying to do it, I guess, but it's not really working.
See, the thing like here, it only works in comics, I think, because it's so out there, out left field. It doesn't really like play out well in like a movie or something. And going for like a Sergio Aragonés type of like style to it, it just adds to it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I really want to watch Creepshow with William Shatner. I heard that was like a really good one.
The show?
Yeah, Creepshow.
Yeah. Do you mean you talking about the original movie or the
the anthology movie with William Shatner is like kind of like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
I always
saw
wanted to see that.
First. I saw Creepshow before Tales from the Crypt.
Well, the EC comics were a thing, and then they made Creepshow was first, but as far as the movie. But like that's what I'm saying. I want to watch. That's what I want to watch is Creepshow.
Yeah.
Creepshow. Yeah. Shudder has the Creepshow, the show, which is pretty good.
Nice. I love Joe Bob Briggs on there. He got me like I watched the first couple episodes, and we watched Society on Halloween. That is like one of the most disgusting movies I've ever seen in my life. And I think that was why they had it as like, I think it was like episode like 2 or 3. And it was just like, I had to like roller coaster strap myself in for the finale of that movie. Cause it was just like 20 minutes of pure body horror, like non-stop, It's built up to this one giant scene, and it's not necessarily like a slasher where people like get died, get cut up or anything. It's just disturbing horror, like Junji Ito or something like that,
Yeah.
And apparently it came from a guy who was Japanese, so it was like similar to Junji Ito's kind of headspace, It's like the prosthetics and everything was so like slimy and sludgy and everything. They had to shoot it in one day for like 13 hours. Just people going at it and like covered in like KY and everything for 13 hours.
All right.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, like, you know, you have to be a fan of horror to like really get into it.
Is this on Shudder?
Yeah, and you can watch the film by itself, or you can watch Joe Bob Briggs' version. And I watched it without knowing what it was, and saw the last drive-in on Shudder.
Uh-huh.
And I'm so glad that I had a party, because we were all eating ice cream and just like whoa, you know. It was an awesome movie night. It was great. It was during October, so it was like a Halloween marathon. We were like watching Joe Bob every other week during the season of Halloween until we watched Halloween on Halloween, and that was a great year. That was last year.
Yep, Shudder's pretty good. It's yeah, I've seen a good bit of The Last Drive-In. What else is on there that's good? They have a lot of those random Nick Cage horror movies. I don't know if he's like
Pig.
I haven't seen Pig yet.
I don't know if it's out. Is it out?
I've heard that it's out.
Yeah, I think it's on
I
screen.
haven't seen it.
He was in like a new movie, and it's on Amazon.
William Wonderland.
I can't remember the name, but it's like kind of like John Wick lighting. You know, everything looks like super saturated reds and purples and stuff, and it's all like
Andy.
Yeah. I want to see
Color Outer Space. It's either
he's done a few of like he's on that color palette. I mean, he's doing X and having a great time. I don't know. It's a great color palette.
I honestly feel like Nick Cage has got a comeback. He has hair again. He has hair.
He did what is it called? The Parents or something. I think this is like this was like 2016 when he started coming back around. The Parents, basically, he plays some dad, and it's like really about the kids, but all of the parents, I don't remember if it's in the world, but I think just it's at least in the town. Basically, everybody's parents tries to kill their kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, Children of the Corn, right?
No. Yeah, this just came out like within the last 5 years or so. But it's Nick Cage getting to be full Nick Cage because he's getting to have to chase his kid with an axe.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah.
I want to see Wicker Man because
when is Nick Cage
woman
not
in the face in a bear suit?
I mean, okay, when is Nick Cage not Nick Cage? I want to see that movie.
Lord of War. Yeah, Lord of War.
Okay.
Yeah, Lord of War, definitely.
That's a great movie too.
It's really good.
He's still Nick Cage in that one.
I think he's subdued though. He's like the most regular actor in Lord of War.
It's a toned down Nick Cage, but still.
Jared Leto's the real dick around in that movie.
Yeah, I mean Jared Leto's the Nick Cage of God of War.
Right.
The movie's called Mom and Dad from 2017.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
The one with the killing the children.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that movie was a lot of fun. If you're having fun with Nicolas Cage coming back, and you want to and even if you're not, and you still just want to watch a good movie, definitely check it out. There's my review. Or there's my recommendation. There you go. Didn't even have to watch the video. Got it right here.
I don't know. Every couple of years, I watch Face Off.
I love Face Off. I mean, it's kind of like John Woo on Hollywood mode, but it's a good movie. You know, it's fun. I love the overacting that Nicolas Cage has. Peaches, you know, his whole like.
Yeah, you know what I really detest about that movie? The whole hand over the face as an term of endearment.
The what?
You know, like I think it was John Travolta. He did that to his wife. Like he like drew his hand across her face, like the whole hand. Like that was his way of saying hi.
Italian.
Yeah, I just remember like, you know, the airport shootout and the prison sequence and, you know, the whole like Catholic thing. You know, that's what stands out for me. It's not a deep movie.
No,
boy, now you remind me of Con Air.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, Con Air.
Like I go for Face Off to see like Nicolas Cage laugh and go like his face. You know? Like it's cheese. It's like
complete and utter
total
cheese.
cheese.
I mean, in a way, Nicolas Cage has always been doing movies like The Parents. If you want to look at like Face Off, it's like this dude's always been Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
We're
I
just
want
now
to
seeing it
see
for the first time.
Raising Arizona because I saw
Oh yeah,
it.
it's a great movie.
that's a
That
good
was-
movie.
That was a good movie. It looked
But
good.
then-
I hadn't seen it, but the opening scene was really good.
But then you go like, it's all for the honey. And yeah, okay.
I love watching this video. It's old. It's like 2012 by now. I think it was released in 2012. But it's called "The Evolution of Nicolas Cage's Hair."
Nice.
That video is a YouTube like golden oldie. It's great.
Yeah, that's really close to Chocolate Rain and Leave Britney Alone
Chocolate Rain.
level of old school YouTube.
Yeah.
You got that?
Leave
You
Britney
got-
alone. Leave
Yeah.
Britney alone.
Whatever the hell his name was. What was that guy's? Never mind. Never mind that guy's name.
Yeah. I want to leave that guy alone. Oh,
Yeah, you'll get him on us. Leave me alone.
Back in those days, I was really into movie reviews. Schmoes Know, Fury of the Film Fans, Scene Stealers, Mr. Black. Like, that was the best time for movie reviews in the history of the whole site. Easily.
you know what it really means about old-timey YouTube? The Hindu music videos.
AMVs, yeah.
Yeah,
Now we're talking really early YouTube.
Yeah, like Tunak Tunak Tune and all that stuff.
Yeah.
montages were also a big thing, man. Like
Yeah.
Call of Duty and Halo. Call of Duty 4
yeah.
and Halo 3. MLG started out like, just beginning. And Machinima too. Machinima Red versus Blue, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that started with their feet, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, we got Pops Van Zant in the chat.
Sir.
What's
Yeah.
up, Pops?
Yo.
Hey, Pops.
It's got us for the survey time. Go ahead, Pops. We've got a captive audience here, my friend.
Hey, dude, I'm just catching real quick here.
Who are you drawing? Is it
Just
just
some
anybody?
guy.
Or? Yeah,
Just
well,
some guy.
looks great, bro.
And that's not the YouTuber, just some guy. Just some guy.
Let's take a look at Jake. See what you up to.
Nothing much. I'm just grading right now.
Interesting.
This is what I got so far.
All right. Flip over to that.
Nice. Yeah, dude, I'm...
What you got, Riley? Go ahead. Not bad. Hey,
Yeah,
hey.
actually, this is like a character design exercise I do. I mean, in animation school, it was called plussing. So I'll let you know when to share my screen. Yeah.
All right, Pop's question. What's the best crowdfunding site for indie creators? Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, probably Indiegogo at this point.
Yeah, at this point, any
yeah.
place where you're not going to be gatekept and where people don't call you a Nazi, even though it's physically impossible for me to be a Nazi. But
I don't know, Pedro. I think I see a little Hitler mustache growing
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
they,
in
yeah, that would
lifetime.
be, dude, okay, there was actually like a I don't know, a Third Reich move, for lack of a better name, done in Germany, and there was a Peruvian chapter of neo-Nazis that went to Germany for said meeting, and they got their asses kicked. No, I can't be a Nazi.
Yeah, that's a shame, Pedro.
Yeah,
Guess you have to cross that off your list of career
Exactly.
choices.
yeah, I had dreams, So, okay, can you share my screen?
Yes. Let me do that. Let me also say,
Uh,
Pop says he's kind of pissed at Kickstarter right now. Going to be hard to promote people that use it.
Yeah,
I thought about it.
I can feel you, man.
mhm.
I thought about putting my book on Kickstarter at times. I don't. I mean, I don't want to have to do the extra work, to be honest.
I don't know, man.
And
Like, I don't want to be greedy. That's the way I look at it. Like
Yeah.
right now, the lines have been drawn.
yeah,
So okay, so this is what we used to do. Well, this is a digital version of what I used to do at animation school. It's called flossing. So you get like a simple character, just the body structure, and instead of putting a paper on top of it, I just clear it out, and now I'm gonna turn him into a cyborg, like add like mechanical parts, but to a structure. So that's a good way to practice the character design. It's easier to add stuff on top of things that are already there instead of
Right.
just.
right on.
It's,
Kind of looks like a buff Aang Avatar: The Last Airbender.
yeah.
That line on the head there, sort of.
Oh no, that's just a construction line. It's,
Yeah, I know, but you could do the little doodle there and make it Aang with like
yeah.
doing some kind of crazy. Kind of craziness.
So yeah, dude, make mine Indiegogo. Really.
I was blocked by. I don't think
What's
that,
up with that?
Yeah, no, I was blocked by the Jamila lady. It took her the longest to do that, and then who's the other one that was blocked? Oh yeah, Indie Comics for Everybody. I got blocked by them too.
Mhm.
Didn't do anything, obviously, like a lot of people.
Oh,
Personally,
no, there's a guy who calls himself like
Ah.
Indie Comics something. Like he's blocking everyone. I was like, dude, like
Yeah.
nobody's even like engaging with him. Like that to me is very bizarre.
yeah, that's Indie Comics for Everybody, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I checked now, and I got blocked by her too.
by him.
I wasn't yesterday.
It's a dude.
Well, there's
No,
girl,
I mean
too,
Jamil,
the Kickstarter
the
lady.
Oh
Kickstarter,
yeah,
the Camus Gestapo.
yeah. Dude, I was talking that over with the guys from 656.
Mhm.
You know, the Mexican crew. And dude, like,
Yeah, blocked.
and this is coming from people who will be like quote unquote minorities, because I'm not really a minority in my country, but I would be a minority in the U.S. And this Jamila lady, she checks all the right boxes, you know. Like she's a woman, she is a minority, she seems to be disabled somehow. Like I don't know, like they went down the whole check mark.
She's disabled, I'm sure. That
Yeah.
I'm sure. Just to what degree is the question. But
Yeah.
I'm done.
And I don't know, man. Like she seems like the perfect fall guy. If Kickstarter fails again,
There's something about the people that apply for the job that kind of put themselves in the position to be the scapegoat in a way.
yeah,
It is what it is. So you got go on over. We could go to Zoop, right?
Oh,
Isn't that the
yeah.
other one? That's the newest one.
that's a dream. That would be a dream come true. Nah,
What?
Pretty,
Zoop.
yeah, Zoop. Pretty sure
That's-
that's the newest.
That's Camila Zong, actually.
Yeah, that's a comic book specific one as well. But yeah, that's Camilla Jang.
It's Zhang or
Ooh.
Zong.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it's
Yeah,
Yang.
not that I really care, but I've heard Zong and Zhang, and
No, I don't know.
then if you say her name wrong, then you're oppressing her or something.
You know, that's I probably already have in this conversation without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Can I say that causes me stress? Is that sort of like counteract the whole ordeal?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, it's such
Just
a
out
weak
there.
stance.
And
What now? Who's got weak stance?
A weak stance, like, hey, I'm a minority. You should support me. Hey, screw it. You good at what you do? You won't need support. Put yourself out there, and whoever's gonna buy your stuff is gonna buy it because it's good. that should be the end of it. But
I sometimes have like wonder: is it an ethnically minority thing, or is it just like
it's
national
a victim
minority?
thing.
I
It's a
don't
victim
get.
thing.
Yeah, I've always like seen it as a vocab of like a victim,
Yeah.
but there's no specificities to it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, nationally, I would be in a minority.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean like I'm like talking myself up to be like in a minority. It is not reasonable for me to do so because I'm just with people. I
Mhm.
just that was the way I was at least raised, like to see the people and not like the things that that was on them. But now everyone is sort of like gravitated towards the outlook of themselves. It's like
Mhm.
phones and shit set that right back to like oh, we need to be like preoccupied by how people are looking and how the way they talk and the way they like act
Yeah.
and shit. Everything that everything that we actually managed to like in certain frameworks improve on
Mhm.
has been set back,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
only like it's only being like ramped up or at least induced by the way of like being synoptical in the sense of like being seen as part of like the attention economy and all that shit. It
Yeah.
is swallowing people up like to be so preoccupied with themselves and their egos, and that they have to like make up justifications just to stay relevant or being like at the top positions. And for that, it is just disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't like playing those games. Nobody
I think
really
you kind of hit the
benefits.
nail on the head there, Jake. Though,
Huh.
really, it is. It's
Dude,
a sort of currency. That's why you always see it like people use it as a. I mean, it's in like people's description of themselves. You know, the first yada yada of to do this. It is a certain currency. I mean, I suppose there's. I honestly don't know if there's any value in framing things like that. I also kind of grew up, even though I'm from Florida, which is, down here, which is the South, which, lots of people call racist. I mean, I grew up not thinking about black or white in any sort of way like that.
mhm.
And really isn't until like 2016 that when it was kind of like forced on everybody else that, like you kind of have to like live in this world that they've put you in now.
I don't know,
To some
man.
degree. I mean, you just don't
Like
play their
I
games.
am, I am openly black, but I'm not really a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like they have tried to come at me like, hey, but don't you feel oppressed? Like, dude, I'm signing checks for people. Okay? I employ people. I'm not a victim. Like,
Yeah.
don't you get stuff that the police, most police officers in Panama are black too. And guess what? They suck. It's not the fact that it's a white policeman, it's that it's a policeman. And maybe it's not like we don't have like police brutality problems down here, but we have a corruption problem.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, nobody wants to be stopped by a cop, especially at night, because those guys are just looking for money to go whoring afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So they will ask for your license and do for anything. They're like, oh, you're in trouble, $50 or whatever, you know? So
Right.
I don't know. Like I don't live that reality. So when people try to like, I was contacted like, hey, we need a minority illustrator. I just send them package. Like, nah. I mean, you're hiring me. You're trying to hire me because I'm black. No, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's a strange proposition, really.
Yeah, dude, it's horrible. And whoever takes it, it's in my eyes, it's weak. I'm sorry, man. Like, yeah, you take every advantage you should. Like, yeah, but what are you able to sleep at night with the things you do? I don't know. It kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, and it's just that we're surrounded by a lot of. I think that we're surrounded with a lot of the enforcement of um enforcement of higher, more like social agendas that really don't mesh on like a local basis, really. worst is that it's like bled onto the virtual scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I mean, like we're living in a very interconnected world. This stream is an example of it, and a lot of the problems that I see is that they are pushing, or I'm using weasel word they now, but people, you can tell like there's people that really want to like enforce these social realities or social realisms onto the internet, but the problem is that it's a whole like other living space in of itself, and I can definitely attest to that because I'm bombarded with American media, American news coverage, and all that shit all the time.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it doesn't faze me or regard to me because I'm not living in that consciousness.
And that reality, it doesn't permit your existence. So yeah.
I mean, there is not like lack of empathy or sympathy when it calls for it. It's just that there are a lot of things that you are not in the possession of to like be of help in a sense. Yeah. But as soon as like you stretch it out like to the virtual realms, you can. And for example, like with donating on Patreon or contributing to like different resources and stuff that are not physical, or at least you could do physical, but it will take a little bit more of like work to do that with the shipping and all that.
Yeah.
But I do hate like the experience of the internet has become more dour, more sour, like every hour.
More sour every hour. Yeah.
So, like, yeah, definitely 2016 sort of made everyone snap, but I think that it's just primarily the US. They really snapped, and they haven't really come to terms with that stuff. The elites, sort of say, or like the people who like to intermingle and migrate themselves with power and all this stuff. Well, as for creators, it's definitely been like a slap in the face, I would say, that they will have to kowtow to some downstream bullshit that was outside of their realm, and it's being imposed onto like everyone internationally. And I'm sitting here far off the Atlantic, and I'm like, dude, I just want to draw tits. Come on.
Don't you miss the days of Peter?
The what?
The days of Peter.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was like don't mess with dogs' assholes or whatever, and it was more like animal caring. Like I could disassociate myself from that, but right now, like it's in my face, and it's everywhere I go. Like, don't you feel oppressed? Don't you feel it? I don't. And then there's something wrong with me because I want to live my life with a positive outlook, I guess. I don't know,
Pedro, you're on the constant threat. You've got to be aware of it. You've got to be aware of being a constant threat.
Yeah, it's like,
did you know that you're under constant threat? Yeah. It's sort of shit like that really makes me riled up. Like, you can't fucking ride the amygdala of every person around the world, or else they'll be like super fucking depressed and all that. The internet certainly had like that spat when it came to last year, during the lockdowns. You could definitely see that coming. Like everyone took their masks off; they didn't put the masks on. If you get my drift.
Yeah. I get what you're trying to say.
See what you did there. Yeah, it's so from the outside perspective, I mean, I think, Jake, do you feel like you have a kind of a handle on what American politics in a way? I mean, are you forced to follow it, and do you see it the way, if you do have an understanding of it? Because I've talked to a few friends from other parts of the world that sometimes they just don't follow it, so they don't know. But do you follow it? Do you have an understanding of it?
Yeah, I've been unlucky to be in like the political sphere of YouTube for quite a long time, since 2012. Because I was like in the atheism plus skeptic circles back then, and I was like really intermingled with YouTube politics until like the whole BreadTube shit started to crop up, like late 2018. That's when I sort of like started to drop off. But that being sort of like I would call that a virtual spat. The politics in the US, I've heard about like Cuomo and the bunch in New York, and then there's like DC. And from the way that I understand it, a lot of the city politics, especially like in places of Chicago and LA and all that, they really have a bad time, especially in blue cities. But I don't hear much of like how it's like going out like in the out in the sticks and all that stuff. I don't hear like stuff out of like middle of Delaware or shit like that. It's mostly like city politics that comes into my ears, but I'm more informed about that rather than more informed about the American politics rather than my Norwegian politics. That so. But what I find fascinating about it is the free market component bleeding into like elections and all that stuff. That's really scary to think of. The way that you can support like super PACs and all that stuff by lobbying and being like putting resources, monetary gains, and all that stuff, and putting people in a place of power they shouldn't be in when choosing like cabinets and all that stuff. Here, it's very regulated because our system of governance is not dictated by like a binary partisanship. It is it's representative of like different branches. Like you do have like left, right, and center, but there are so many parties involved that there are like two leading parties, the Labour Party and the right. Those are like the majors and the oldest parties, but there's still like other parties lesser in that do have like a chance of rising into power through the voting. We are going to have a vote in September, and it'll be interesting to see if we're going to continue the blue lead as it has been like running for almost 10 years now.
So you practice multipartyism then?
Yeah, we do have multipartyism.
Okay, so I don't know. Latin America obviously is not Norway, so I don't want to make a comparison that way. But we do practice multipartyism here. But the phenomenon we got here is that you get government coalitions. What is that? Like smaller parties?
Hey guys.
Sorry. Parties.
What's up, Riley?
I just finished my drawing. I'm gonna duck out of here, but I'm gonna send it to you real quick. I just sent it to you in DMs. You can share that on the screen.
Hey, sure. Hold up. Let me pull up my Discord.
And I'm gonna duck out of here.
All right, buddy.
Okay. All right.
Once you showed up.
Yeah. Let me get this.
Let's see this.
Yeah. Share. Boom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's Detective Comics 69.
All right, 69.
I like to cape
59.
Aww.
I know. It would have been great. But thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me on the interview. I had a lot of fun. I'll see you on the flip side, okay?
Anytime.
Yeah, sure.
All right, bro.
It was a
Catch you later.
Where were we? Multiparliamentism.
Yeah, multipartyism. Like the things like you get coalitions down here, and it ended up being like a dual party system. They do exist, and they do get like positions in parliament, but for elections of presidents, it becomes like a two-guy race.
Right.
Always. So, but as I said, like Latin America is not Europe. Like we are riddled with corruption, and I'm not gonna deny that. I don't know if that's a phenomenon that happens there. That's my question. Like you get like
we do have a coalition system, yeah, but it's led by four parties, so usually three. But no, not usually three. It's usually four. But if there is a lack of one coalition party, they try to fill that up. And for most part, it's been like majority conservative parties within the last coalition. But it has It has been almost, I think it's about 8 years since like the right conservative party um, have been in power, and they like won miraculously in the last election. I don't know how, but I don't remember. I didn't vote. I rarely vote because that like sort of like gives me it gives away the license to actually shit on politicians. I think.
Yeah. I know.
So rather voting, I prefer to like stay on the sideline and just like rag on people and rag on decisions that they have that made their bed and all that shit.
Yeah, the sense like I like paying attention more to culture than politics, because culture drives politics. And I don't know, to me it's really sad that now like being right wing is being equated with racism, which is really not the case. Because I mean, I hold like right wing views to some extent, not completely.
Right.
I mean, every person will have ideas that will turn them to the right or the left. Like you can't be like completely right or completely left. That to me is like insane. But now, if I expose right-wing views, I've been labeled like a race traitor. I don't know, man. Like to me, that was very heavy. Because I mean,
that's a heavy one. My girlfriend is black, and yeah, it's kind of weird because it's I'm a ginger, obviously. So like we've experienced things like on both ends. Like we walk into Walmart and get like, sometimes weird looks from black people, sometimes, weird looks from white people. So and then you sometimes, most people don't care. There's a lot, Florida's not this haven of, I really don't think, the South is racist like people make it out to be.
I've been to the South, man. I've been to the South. It was a lot of fun, actually.
Right.
Never had a problem.
Yeah. No, that's all good. Anyways, go on, gentlemen.
As you were saying, Pedro?
Yeah, I've been accused of being like a race traitor, but this have been by people who happen to be black too, but don't know a hood about their own history. And like I don't know, that's why it becomes like a waste of time. Like how do you go about explaining to themselves like how really like slavery was driven by economics, and the African kingdoms basically destroyed the chances of Africa by exporting their population. Because you got the Yoruba, the Bantu, like all these different kingdoms were predating within each other to sell to the Portuguese at Sierra Leone. It was not like the Europeans came into Africa hunting for; they would have been killed right away.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that I don't know. Like people just don't want to pay attention. They hop on the narrative horse and they just trot along.
Yeah, but then again, it's like how much of it is manufactured information that are serving sort of like political purposes.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
In the U.S. or I could imagine this being like a thing further down south in America too, that South America. That texts, school books are written in a way of a political angle.
Oh yeah, dude.
So there's a go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is one like the major problems when it comes to like textbooks is that they are written with highlights in mind, and especially when it comes to like historic books, it only shows a linear highlight reel out of events and all that stuff. Like you don't get the deep complexities of World War II just by hearing about like, okay, the Reichstag was taken over by Hitler, the Kristallnacht, and all that stuff that followed. Those are like event based, but they're represented in such like a streamlined way that it's sort of like taken for granted the multitudes of like what happened, because it's always like it's always like based down into like one simple thing, and all that concentration really ruins the like capacity of like gaining complex knowledge or critical thinking. They keep critical thinking into like university post-secondary graduation, like education wise, and it's crazy that people aren't taught that in like elementary or at least in the middle schools.
Exactly. Like, how are you going to understand the Reichstag incident if you don't understand the Weimar Republic, for example?
Or the beer hall
rebellion. Yeah, the beer hall
putsch.
I mean, all those events just added up to what happened at the Reichstag and why people accepted that. Like, it's really easy to demonize. And so like, oh, that was monstrous. And how could they? How could they put yourself in that historical context and think about how you would have reacted? Nobody does that. You know, because I mean, the indoctrination in Latin America is hate for the U.S. Right away. But the thing is, like, since my father was really keen on me and my brother learning English, he bought us a lot of books in English. So as we were getting indoctrinated in school with like how the trees with America and the construction of the canal and all that, it was basically demonizing America. And when you read the story from the American perspective, and that was what they were trying to do, and I'm not saying that Americans were saints, because nobody is really. In the end, like
it's all gray.
Yeah, you only get like the different perspective, and you see the bullshit from of the indoctrination. You know what I mean? Because I mean, what do we have to look up here in Latin America as our sort of like national heroes? They're all descended from pirates and Spanish people who weren't the best of Spain, because nobody will sail with Columbus to the Americas if you have something going on in Spain. It was always people like adventurers and people who were, you know, like running away from something. That's the quality of people we got here. And I'm not speaking ill of immigrants. I mean, you're not the product of your past. But I mean, when you see who went to the colonies to make America were like Huguenots and people who were persecuted religiously and only want to make a life. Latin America was made by adventurers and people who wanted to take advantage of a situation. So we don't have like a tradition of ruling ourselves. All the rules were coming from Spain, and that shows in all our centralized governments. Like, we are learning to rule ourselves now, and that's one of the main reasons of really like, why is Latin America poor? Just because of that. Like, everybody who gets into power starts looking after himself right away. We don't have that idea of the greater good. It's not ingrained yet. So, I mean, I call it the blood of pirates or something. And we have good people here. Don't get me wrong, very good people. Those people don't get involved in politics because it's a dirty business. Doing politics in Latin America. But coming on down with that conclusion makes it sound like I hate my country, and I don't.
So Jake, I'm actually interested in, since you're from Norway and you know that's obviously in Europe. What do you have any sort of? I mean, obviously the hot kind of button word around here is communism, and then obviously fascism, Nazis, yada yada. We've been hearing that for a while, and it's actually, I guess, convenient that you've been plugged into the political sphere. Do you have? I mean, how do you what do you think we're trying, like, because you'll see a lot of these, you know, mostly Twitter idiots, but I mean, a lot of, like, let's take Antifa for a second. Like, are these like wannabe LARPing communists, and then you have the like the ones that are the most violent are just the most mentally ill? I mean, is there, and are they like the wave of the communist takeover? Is it all that serious, or, you know, you get what I'm saying? I'm just from a European perspective, I think, you know, it's interesting because that's where those ideologies kind of come from.
I think the American experiment has a problem, a social problem of a liberty. This goes back to like the free market. So the free market is a highly competitive area within the U.S., but that is totally different in the ways that the European governmental systems, especially here in Norway, operate, because our the modus operandi, for example, I want to go by Norway because that's where I live right now. Our social modus operandi is that we have a commonality of access and resources and all that stuff. So everything is based on more like a socialist or like democratic socialist type of governance. There is of course like the right and all that stuff happening, and they exist, but in the sense that we strive for more like a common good that
you're good.
That it we strive for like a common good that is not founded within like that that highly competitiveness that I think that the US have to like reinforce and strengthen. And when you see like ideologies running around LARPing like commies and stuff, primarily occupied in Twitter, all of these like people don't really come off online as really serious. It is in the actions, as always, when it's being spoken up when it comes to different types of political tribes coming together and doing something. And for the most part, the negatives have always been proven to be like blown up when it comes to the Americans, rather than showing like a nuanced take on it. So there are probably good commies out there. There are probably good conservatives out there, but they rarely get to share like that limelight because of media bias, because they're run by companies, and so it's really hard to like show that progress in a very open, ideal market of ideas. And here we strive more like in our news picture not to have that, or I mean like the government, because the people pay license tax, like they pay for license to use for the utilities of like a governmental news
Kind of like
broadcast.
the BBC.
Yeah, sort of like the BBC
television license or whatever.
Yeah, so it is like that, and that is the public utility. They can always like they have the right to complain if there is something that is not represented wholly accurate because of different like news agencies and stuff. That sort of thing does not exist like on that level of scrutiny when it comes to like the US, because everyone could cite the SPJ code of ethics in the way that is how the journalism is supposed to be operating and conducting under in the US, but that is rarely happening because they are thinking in corporate banners. They're a corporate think tank that are being supported by different like brands and all that stuff. Every time you get like school shootings in the US, you definitely will be bombarded with ads because that's like hot topic for the next 12 hours. And it just shows that there's more like incentive to like blur the lines by exploiting harsh realities and like really tragic events and all that shit. And I would say like most of the blame comes from like a partial media bias, or at least depiction of it. Now when you got the internet, it's more like it's more noise to that machine, because now everyone can like pick and choose and confirm their own biases and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that is a problem, while here it's not the same picture or like the same type of stressors that exist, because people aren't really chased by it. As I mentioned earlier about like to Pedro, you're under constant threat. Did you know that you're under constant threat? Exactly. That kind of shit is not pushed over here as much. While you got like total different examples, like in Sweden. Sweden's got a big problem when it comes to assimilation of immigrants into the country. Like they try to integrate into society, and that also that ends up with a lot of criminal gangs of first or second wave immigrants who join up like gangs and try to like play uh, you know, play police within like within
Kind
their
of like old Italian mafias and things like that.
yeah,
Kind of
so
started
sort of
off
like the
there.
mob, yeah. So you got like different mobs springing up over there, but the
Okay.
government there tries to bury that shit. They don't want to let the public let that be known being a problem or like a dilemma. They're too like wrapped up in their what we call a feminist government, and but that's just like that's just like talk.
Yeah. No, but
So,
I know what you get by what you're saying about like a feminist government. But I mean, I don't know if it's fair to call it a feminist government. 'Cause it's a group of ideas that's encompassed within feminism too. But there are other groups that think like that too. And basically, it's people who want to fight without going for the real fight, which to me is like really the sad thing.
mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, if you want to see like the real fight for for female rights, it's in Afghanistan, not in Europe
Right
or the
now,
US. Yeah. So where is this huge like feminist army getting ready for war? I don't see it. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't really see it either. Like,
Did y'all catch that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
no, I've seen that news report. Yeah, about like
That-
treatment.
uh,
Yeah, that was a little bit cringe, I must say.
Yeah,
Like,
like
as
a
if
British military general. It was like General Sir something or another. I was like, General Sir. It's like, you got to have the Sir in there. Yeah, they're British. But yeah, that really great interview he had where he's like, they promise to be a diverse and respectful of women government, and we won't know until we see otherwise.
yeah.
Probably.
With his Giles.
Yeah. No, I mean, he looked like he was on safari. He had the little safari pants on.
Yeah, exactly.
but to like answer like straightforward with the question that you asked for, Ginge, it's really complicated, and I would say that it waters down into a fractured reality. I would say, because no one wants to like live in like a social cohesion where they could like find where they can find like happiness, because everyone's got to like peddle something. It's really easy to coerce and bring in a lot of fear today, and people suffer more for it than they actually want to like acknowledge it.
Yeah, there's a lot of mental illness, and like the way you can't say. I mean, the way you quote unquote, people sort of without really understanding what political correctness is and how it's used. Like you can't say anything these days. You'll hear that a lot. But I think y'all both understand that just is in order to stop you from speaking out against things. And
yeah, like for me, it comes off like weird, because if I were to like pull that id poll card, like I'm neurodivergent, I'm not fucking normal by any means. My autism does shit, and just seeing through bullshit, it's sort of like part of it. I would say, because I'm driven to sniff that out if I get the chance of it. Like I want to have like a consistency of it, and when I see things not being consistent, I either question it or I drop it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just like a placebo effect. Like they really want to feel good about like, yeah, I'm doing something, but they know that the real fight is really hard. So they rather like come up with an enemy, do their little shtick, and say, "Hey, I'm doing something," when they're really not.
Yeah, like making up fucking dragons, let's just call it, and that is more harmful than trying to like strive for concrete problems, like the things in down in Afghanistan right now,
yeah, exactly.
or other places like gay rights in Russia and all that. But that's a whole can of worms.
Gay rights in Libya, for example.
Yeah, example. Like in Libya.
Yeah.
I'm baffled that people are. I think the psychological need of not confirmation but comfort.
Yeah.
The road to less pain is not a valid thing in my mind. I think life gotta have a lot of pain in order to like chip out the good. You gotta like go through a lot of got a lot of ground to cover before you can actually find the things that are worth. And so like sitting here and like drawing comics and all that stuff, it's just pain right now, but it's worth it. Like in a couple of years, you will be sitting here with mountains of work, and you can do whatever you want to do with it, as long as the system that is around now will still be around for you to use.
There's no guarantees.
There is absolutely no guarantees, and you're right, Pedro. But in that sense, we gotta like call out these fuckers that are like trying to censor or clamp down on people, or like clowns like me who try to work and have to like make that pain a little bit worth it, and so like and give value to people, because great art answer difficult and tough questions, you know.
But that's more like a Buddhist approach, as life is suffering, and how you handle the suffering determines the quality of your life.
Yeah, like key to suffering is to find how to use it, and it's really fucking bothersome to see like people want to go and mitigate pain, mitigate the thing that will make you. Are you dumb? Are you out of your mind?
Exactly.
That is the excitement, the thrill. We don't have that much thrill of that anymore. I mean, you think that the people went out to conquer other people or other tribes because they felt like they had to make a change in the world? No, they felt a challenge. They felt a thrill. People that went to explore, we don't have that kind of chance anymore, aside from doing that in simulated spaces, like in media, like in comics or animation or whatever.
Yeah,
all of that stuff. If we can't have that chance to like make ourselves pain, cry, bleed, and all that stuff for the art, and have that exploration to like in our inner psyches and all that stuff, like dig out some like hidden truths or whatever, and try to discuss about it, we won't like get on. We won't progress. And I mean, like, we won't progress. And if like progressives, who I know have like a lot of problems in the U.S. When it comes to litmus testing and all that stuff, because not every progressive is like that. Every caricature that you've seen out of like Ben Garrison or whatever, yeah, like no, we need challenges, and if you can't accept that, I guess that you're giving up all that security and all that shit. You want security, you won't get security.
To get tyranny, actually.
It's just like selling it because it's convenient. I mean, challenges don't have conveniences into it. I mean, come on.
Like, when you see like the great advances in technology, are always like alongside conflict, you know. And I always try to explain that to a former teacher of mine, which was a very weird conversation. Is she was trying to tell me that I sounded like a Trump supporter. And I was like, hey, I can't even vote in the U.S. How could I be a Trump supporter? One, and two, what I'm trying to say is that conflict it's like kickstarts innovation. Because you need to solve a problem. Like when the Golden Horde was invading Europe, all technology of warfare improved. It's like, hey, we have to stop these guys, and they couldn't. You know what I mean? But I mean, imagine a Europe that's fighting with pike formations, an artist fighting against a mobile army of 10,000 Mongols on horseback that could shoot going in and going out. How do you fight that? Is that was the conversation we were having? Like, why Europe evolved like gunpowder warfare, and the Chinese didn't, even though the Chinese invented gunpowder, because the Chinese were fighting the Mongols. Like, you'll fire a volley, and by the time you're ready to fire again, the Mongols are gone.
Mm-hmm.
But Europe were fighting in pike formations, like pikes and long swords, and you have an immovable target that would allow you to reload. So the technology was allowed to basically evolve faster in Europe.
Right.
And it was just like, dude, I don't know, like read, and you'll find out about things.
Mm-hmm.
But people are
All
just
right,
like,
guys. Let
Okay.
me hop in here for a second because I didn't mean for us to do an hour and 15 of political talk. So
Okay.
no, it's all good. We're just chatting and having fun. But I am curious about, and not to turn it into an interview about Jake here, but I am kind of curious, Jake, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your book. You know, I mean, if you'd like, you don't have to.
Damn, I was really getting into it, but
Oh shit!
I'm
Oh,
not.
my bad. My bad.
No,
I'll
no,
go
no,
right
no,
ahead.
no, no. I don't have a book right now at the moment. I'm working for I'm working for a couple of anthologies. The story that I'm doing right now is going to be featured at least in 2, I hope.
Nice.
The first one is going to be the AAA community on Discord's 9-Volt Anthology, which is a thematic anthology series. We're currently going to launch the manga, the manga edition, in next week, I think. And I'm going to be sending in this submission that I'm working on right now to Arrow Comics for Indie Volt Revolt.
Sweet. Okay. Cool.
And I'm always up to up to my neck with work. It's just like
Nice.
I really don't like fucking. I feel like I'm throwing myself around a lot when it comes to that stuff. I always come up with ideas and stuff, but it's about executing them that really like gets it out. I am I'm focusing work right now on a pulp sort of like detective story called Detective Ted Tired, and it is about this insomniac of a detective. He's sort of like a gruff Columbo, who's a little bit more of a shut-in, but he's also got like a lot of that Max Payne sentiment, and a little bit more of like that professional line of like execution, a la Mike Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad or the Breaking Bad universe.
Like, yeah.
So it's sort of like it's sort of like an action part comedy. I would say dark comedy in a way. About this detective in a sort of like a fictionalized Chicago in modern day, of course, because I really like to like blend things that make it a little bit anachromatic or like anachronistic, I would say. And I've been cooking up like a story now a couple of days about like for the past couple of days, a revenge story about this dragonfish. So there's like this dragonfish that's been fished out of like the water and like sliced up and thrown into the water again. And his the dragonfish is like Chinese symbolism for like good fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fillet is going to be sent off to this like gang or like very like social elite in the city, but it's sort of like a fantasized world, so it's like hyper it's sort of like a hyper fictionalized Asia in a way, with industrialism and deforestation, a lot of like environmental messaging going down. But the fish is going to like turn into a water spirit, and is going to be sort of like a water, like a Bruce Lee, sort of like be like water, my friend. So the water spirit takes on like a fighter body and all that stuff. When when he gets that redemption for his master, who teaches him a little bit of Zen and like control of like water, because he's that monk has studied like water, and so he's going like down and is like, I spit on your grave revenge, but not with like but within like a PG-13 like rating. So he's got to fight like a lot of robots who's got like freezer blasters and all that stuff, like because he needs to be stopped, because it takes off like it gets really fun like down the line. He's going to like use watermelons and shoot like watermelon seeds out of his fingers, and use beer bottles, and he becomes like drunk, so he gets like a drunken fist sort of like episode. I do like that character, but as I've said, I got like 10, 14 other like long-term projects going on. So
guys, I gotta head out now, so I don't know. This is what I could do so far.
Oh, you're good, bro.
Let us see.
Jake, if you need to head up too, you're welcome to. I'm just gonna.
No, I can stay.
Sketching them out here. All right, Pedro. Thanks for hanging out, bro.
Yeah, well, share my screen, man. I got.
Oh yeah, shit, man.
I got it so far.
We don't want to see what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Right on, bro.
And
that's a strong silhouette, man. I like it.
Yeah, just losing. So, all right, guys. Thank you, Ginge, for the opportunity of being part of your draw stream. And yeah, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Let's do this again some other time.
Yeah, we have to.
All right, Pedro.
Right.
Catch you later, bro.
We seen you. And then there were two.
Right. We're the last two. We made it, buddy. Congratulations.
There can't be only one. Sorry, had to.
No, that's it. Yeah. No, I like politics as well, and it's funny that you mentioned you had gotten into it from 2012. That's about the time I got into it, and it was through YouTube. It was through the Young Turks, actually, and I used to be on. Right, I used to be into them, basically all the way up until Trump won. Because I even watched their live stream of the election and was, because I was still a fan of theirs at the time. I remember meeting who Alex Jones was through their Politicon event where Jimmy Dore, I think it was, spit in his face or whatever. Yeah, old spitting Jimmy Dore. Like, I was still there. I was still a fan of theirs at the time. But no, what they had me on was the don't trust the corporate media and get money out of politics. That was their whole shtick at that time, and that's what I really agreed with. And I also was a Bernie guy, and and they were also pushing Bernie, so maybe that had something to do with it. But at the time, I was still, I think I was probably like 19 thereabouts, and yeah. So at the time, I was, you're young, and at least for me, I was much more like F the police type nonsense. And I still have mixed opinions on it, to be honest, as far as the cops go. I mean, I'm definitely not a defund the police kind of guy by any means. I'm actually in the camp of train them better and hire better cops. Because here's just maybe it's a paranoia fear, but that, all these cops that are going to eventually be like the last, because, if the idea is that all these good cops are quitting and the ones that remain and the ones that join are the ones that are, you're going to get ones that want to change it from the inside. But I mean, how many are like your old school prison guard, like your medieval city prison guards that were, just, not every medieval city prison guard's a Skyrim villain out to get you, but you get what I'm saying. Like, that's one thing I worry about personally is like, I do worry about the police force just because like I heard Biden's putting maybe it's already been happening, but the DC state police is getting branches throughout the country, starting in Florida and California, I believe one other state. I live in Florida, so I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest with you. It's just weird with the DC state police. It's weird.
Yeah. This is sort of like one of the other like differences when it comes to us is that we do not have this sordid history when it comes to police in Norway, as you guys have had it, and it's been it is sort of like evident that the institution of the police have have a long bad standing with the populace of the U.S. But over here, it goes back to like that that social cooperation. The only sad part about when it comes to the U.S. is that you cannot erase that history, no matter what type of progression that will occur. People will always bring that up as sort of a stain. Everyone is. I can think of like a multitude of people going back into the 60s and 50s and how the police were operating with like southern groups, like racial superiority groups, or how they mistreated people in New York during the 70s during the crackdown of the like the war on drugs. And these are only just a few of many events that have that have had like bad police involvement. And then it comes back to like the thing of not showing the good that the police are doing too. But everyone, I'm using a lot of weasel wording today. Sorry. It's just like I'm in a really bad headspace right now where I do not, I haven't like configured my bilingual today. So I'm probably falling into a lot of, I'm falling into a lot of word trappings today.
We're not in a debate stream, buddy. We're just chatting. All right, yeah, it's all good. Please go on, man. I love getting an outside perspective, and you definitely sound like you know quite a lot. So please go on.
So the thing I think, that the U.S. suffers of right now is not only police being corrupt or whatever, because it's part of the U.S.'s nature of being vigilant or being of internal vigilance at the citizen level. And that is why people too like to take sides or be very staunch about their political affiliations and stuff. Here, it's not that much of a talked of thing. You got family members, of course, that will vote one way, and then you have like the outlier that votes the other way. But it is not that much of like a topical thing when the Christmas dinner is like served, or if there is if there's an active discussion. This year it's been mostly preoccupied with Corona, right. But aside from that whole world event, it is not that much discussed politics wise, and I think that's also a bit of an unsure familiarity with how the people in Oslo are working, contrast to people who live like I do out in the boonies. Because Oslo politics is very different from the rest of the country or on the national scale, and it's very concentrated. The attention of Oslo being within those like municipality lines, while the rest is sort of considered as local politics, and that's sort of a shame. So. You got to be interested in the local politics and not as much on like what you guys call federal level into making the case and make the decisions that are worthwhile. And on the national level, it's even more complicated, as I said, with the municipal parliament, as Pedro mentioned. It's really hard to make the call for which party will have that interest for you. So yeah,
Yeah.
You guys, you guys suffer from a terrible lack of like choice when it comes to that stuff. But we suffer from the lack of a lot of wares when it comes to like choosing between cheeses. We don't have that luxury of having that broad of a selection when it comes to food wares and stuff. It's very controlled, government controlled, unfortunately.
So how
If
would
you-
sorry, I was gonna say how you would describe your government as by what we would call like a democratic government. Is that fair? In terms of like
It's
elect government, I guess.
it's a democratic government with built in with, I think, sort of more like socialist or socialism into it. But we're still an active monarchy. The monarch is just
Really?
let up. He's sitting there for like the executive decisions.
Does he have more power than say the Queen might in your respective government? Like the British Queen, I mean, sorry.
Our monarchs are not that involved into the politics unless there is some executive orders to like call for war and all that.
So he just kind of hangs out.
Yeah, it's sort of like he's taking a backseat, but that's sort of part of the course when it comes to the secularization of the nation itself,
Right.
which is not led into a republic, and thank fuck for that, because then we would have the same problems as you guys in France.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing of it all. It's like, I'm definitely I went from being a Bernie guy, and what threw me off with him is I kind of believed. I mean, I really believed in his message, honestly. Like the pretty much the whole thing. At 19, I honestly might have been, I almost shudder to say it. I might have been an Antifa guy just because I was bored and dumb and I don't know, just young and stupid. I mean, honestly, but what got me off the train, like I said, is when, or at least what made me sort of be like, when I noticed everything shift is when like the Young Turks started, lifting up the corporate message, and that was, to me, was like, this is strange. And then how Bernie just outright pretty much gave up. Like he didn't even go out on stage at the DNC to have that speech. I don't know if you recall that or not. It's like basically when they told him that Hillary's the nominee, so move over. And he it was at the Democratic National Convention, which is like the pre
Yeah.
Right, the big speech, but it's not a debate, all that. But yeah, so he didn't even go out and speak, and I was like, okay, so you're gonna. I looked at it like this. I was like, you're gonna lose, whether you've been told or you're just looking at it from the numbers. It's like, so you don't even go out and sort of die on the sword. You know what I mean? It's like, I get you're a politician, but again, I believed in the message. So the idea to me, it was like, he wasn't your typical type politician, Bernie Sanders. But I mean, maybe not by that decision. And now when you look at him, he's just, once again, I'm asking you to buy me or to donate to my campaign. Whatever.
Once again, I ask of you to donate to my next house.
My wife, she has a book deal.
My wife left me.
Oh God!
I'm sorry. When the opportunities they are taken, I mean, the guy obviously has shifted his like higher aspirations too. Like instead of going for the millionaires, he's going for the billionaires, and there is a wide. I don't know. The guy doesn't seem fit for running either, considering like he had a hard up the last election. So I think that he needs to step down from the game and be more of a consultant or advisory board type of guy.
Yeah, that's one thing to me that I just every day I say this dramatically. I mean, this is a joke, but I mean, there is a part of me that's maybe like 10%, maybe 20% that's like, all right, Joe Biden, please just stay alive. Please, I don't want to wake up tomorrow and you're dead. And then Kamala Harris is in charge.
Yeah, you don't want to find Kamala standing over the corpse like, I lived,
No.
bitch.
Because then she has, whether she smothers him with a pillow or not, and if she becomes the president, she then has to act. Right now, they have this buffer with Joe Biden. It's like, look, we can blame everything on Joe Biden, and we can also do nothing at all. And, well, it's out of my hands. I'm not the president. But the moment she's the president, it's like, because you hear that, you've heard that a lot now. It's this thing they were saying when Trump was in office, whom I voted for the second time around. But no, you hear it now where people talk about, well, Biden's the president, so the buck stops with Biden. It's like, yeah, all right, fine. That's the same thing people were saying with Trump. So it's like, all right, I mean, we're going to apply the same standard, so be it. That's fine. But that's kind of why I think maybe Kamala hasn't smothered him with a pillow yet. It's like, all right, we can blame everything on Joe, so that way if maybe he makes it through the next term, she won't be a total, because even if she runs again, I'm not sure she's guaranteed to win, and I think she might even be aware of that. I'm not sure she wants to be president. Maybe at the very end, maybe like the last year, because otherwise I think she knows, and especially maybe seeing it behind the scenes, because otherwise why hasn't she stepped up and been like, I'm going to be, I mean, I guess I get it, Joe's the president, but in reality, she probably could have him sit down and be like, I'm going to be speaking for a while. So the fact that she hasn't, to me, is kind of telling. I think she knows she might not win a second go around. Like she didn't win the first time, and she basically got, the hookup, and that's the only reason she's there. And she knows that, and nobody knows if Trump's running again or not. My governor, I live in Florida, Ron DeSantis. Everybody wants him to run for president.
Yeah, I've heard and seen his stuff. It looks it looks solid in certain ways.
I mean, go ahead.
The thing with this comes back to living inside of a republic, in that when you're president, you, how should I put it? As president, you'll be the most scrutinized person in, like, regardless whichever like party you're coming from, you'll be scrutinized to like heaven and hell. And the faults that are done by Biden right now, everyone will laugh at him, call him Sleepy Joe and all that silly shit. And I do worry that he's got like fucking dementia at times when I see him perform. I can't like armchair like PhD him and say like that he suffers from that. But the president's role is of serving the people as expected, and right now the American people aren't served, and I think Kamala wouldn't be doing more or less of a harm than Biden unless she proves everyone otherwise. That remains to be seen, and I think that we will have some crazy years ahead of us when it comes to this presidency. Like the last time, but last time I think it went really well, but for reasons non-specified. It is.
You mean when Trump won? Sort of the upset?
No, not the reactions, but more of the executions that he did as a president, the way that he failed his promises, but also made a lot of others, which is always going to be happening for any president who is going to get in there. They will not get all the promises all in within their time.
Yeah, I don't think he had any idea, honestly. And I'll be honest, I didn't either, really, because I thought he was going to win. I mean, I didn't think it was a shoot-in.
Really?
Whoa.
headphones died way here, but I got wireless headphones using them since day, but they just
robot microphone.
yeah, they just yeah. So yeah, we'll go ahead. And Jake, thanks for having a good time talking with you. And yeah, politics, but talking politics is, I mean, I think about it just on comic books, you know, growing as a person. This stuff, it's a hobby for me. It's also like you kind of have to, I mean, but we'll catch y'all later.